The ballroom of the Harrington estate shimmered with crystal chandeliers, silver trays, and the soft hum of classical music. It was the annual Harrington Company Gala, a night where investors, board members, and socialites gathered to celebrate another year of success. Among the dozens of waitstaff bustling between tables, balancing glasses of champagne and trays of hors d'oeuvres, was a young maid named Clara. Clara, only 21, had been working at the estate for nearly 6 months. Her tasks were simple: cleaning, serving, and ensuring the event ran smoothly. But she was often treated as if she were invisible. Her uniform was plain, her hands rough from scrubbing, yet she carried herself with quiet grace. What no one knew was that Clara had a secret, one that not even the staff suspected. That evening, as she carefully carried a tray of sparkling drinks into the grand hall, she accidentally brushed shoulders with a wealthy guest. The man scoffed loudly, glaring at her. "Watch where you're going, girl." Before Clara could apologize, Mrs. Eleanor Harrington, the matriarch of the family, appeared from across the hall. Eleanor was elegant, sharp, and known for her ruthless control of both her family's company and reputation. She had never liked Clara. There was something about the maid's quiet confidence that unsettled her. "What is the meaning of this?" Eleanor's voice cut through the music. "She nearly spilled wine on me," the guest exclaimed. Eleanor's eyes narrowed at Clara. "You foolish girl. Do you think this is some street corner cafe? This is the Harrington Gala, not a circus." Clara lowered her gaze, clutching the tray tightly. "I'm sorry, ma'am. It was an accident." Silence. Eleanor snapped. With a wave of her hand, she commanded, "You're fired. Right here, right now." Gasps rippled through the guests. The musicians faltered, conversations froze. The sight of a maid being dismissed in front of such a prestigious crowd was humiliating, and Eleanor knew it. Clara's cheeks burned, but she did not argue. Instead, she set down the tray, bowed her head politely, and walked out of the hall with quiet dignity. Whispers followed her exit. "Such a clumsy girl. She probably wasn't fit for this place anyway." But did you see how calm she was? Odd. Eleanor, satisfied with her display of authority, smoothed her gown and turned back to her guests. The incident was forgotten within minutes, but not by everyone. The next morning, the estate staff prepared for another round of meetings and luncheons. Eleanor sat in the grand dining hall, sipping her tea while giving instructions to her secretary. Her son, Jonathan Harrington, the young heir to the company, entered the room with a furrowed brow. "Mother, I heard what you did last night," Jonathan said sharply. Eleanor raised a brow. "If you're referring to that insolent maid, I simply rid us of a liability. A servant who cannot follow simple instructions is of no use to us." Jonathan leaned on the table. "That maid, as you call her, deserves respect like anyone else. You embarrassed her in front of hundreds of people. That was unnecessary." Eleanor waved him off. "Nonsense. This family did not build its empire on kindness. We built it on discipline." Jonathan wanted to argue further, but before he could, the double doors to the dining hall opened. The butler, looking unusually tense, announced, "Madam, there is someone here to see you. She insists it is urgent." Eleanor frowned. "Who?" The butler stepped aside, and in walked Clara, but she was not wearing her maid's uniform. Instead, she wore an elegant navy dress, her hair neatly styled, and her presence radiated confidence. The entire room seemed to pause as she walked forward, her chin raised. "Clara!" Jonathan exclaimed, shocked. Eleanor's eyes widened in disbelief. "What is the meaning of this?" Clara stopped a few feet from the table. "Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am Clara Harrington, your husband's daughter." The room fell silent. Jonathan's jaw dropped. Eleanor's teacup slipped from her fingers, shattering on the marble floor. "That's impossible," Eleanor hissed. "My husband had no other children." Clara's gaze did not waver. "He did. Before he married you. My father was in love with my mother, Anna. She chose to raise me away from this world because she wanted me to live a life free of greed and cruelty. But after she passed away, I learned the truth. My birth certificate, letters from my father, all proof that I am his child. I came here not as a maid, but to see for myself the family I was meant to know. Gasps echoed from the staff, lingering at the door. Jonathan stepped forward slowly. Father had another daughter? And you're... He stopped, still processing. Yes, Clara said softly. And last night, I was humiliated in front of your guests. But I endured it because I wanted to see the truth of this household. And I saw it clearly. Eleanor's face turned crimson. How dare you come here, spinning lies? Clara calmly pulled out a folder and placed it on the dining table. Inside were legal documents, her birth certificate bearing their father's name, photographs, and handwritten letters. Jonathan snatched them up, his eyes scanning each page, his hands trembling. It's true, he whispered. Everything matches. Clara, you are my sister. The weight of his words fell over the room like thunder. Eleanor staggered back, gripping the edge of the table. No, this cannot be. You're just a servant. Clara cut her off, her voice firm. I was a servant because I chose to walk into this house without revealing myself. I wanted to know if this family lived up to the name it boasts. What I found was arrogance, cruelty, and a woman so concerned with appearances that she would strip another human being of dignity for a mistake as small as brushing a shoulder. Jonathan looked between Clara and his mother. His expression hardened. Clara is family. She has every right to be here. And if Father were alive, he would never have allowed her to be treated the way you treated her. Eleanor's lips trembled, but no words came. That evening, the Harrington Company issued a statement to the press. Clara Harrington, daughter of the late Charles Harrington, has formally joined the family business. The news shocked the city. The same people who had seen her humiliated as a maid the night before now recognized her as the true heiress. At the estate, Clara walked through the halls no longer as a servant, but as a daughter of the house. The staff who had once pitied her now bowed with respect. Jonathan stayed close to her side, eager to know more about the sister he never knew he had. I can't believe it, he said as they stood on the balcony that night. All this time, and you were right here under our roof. Clara smiled faintly. I wanted to see if this family was worth claiming. You are, Jonathan, but the values must change. Father's legacy shouldn't be wealth alone. It should be integrity. Jonathan nodded firmly. Then we'll change it together. Eleanor, meanwhile, sat alone in her chamber, her pride shattered. She had tried to humiliate a girl she thought beneath her, only to learn that the girl was her stepdaughter, equal in blood and name. And Clara, once the poor maid who had been fired in front of everyone, now stood as proof that true worth was not in uniforms, titles, or money. It was in dignity, resilience, and truth. The Harrington estate would never be the same again. For the first time in years, its halls echoed not just with wealth, but with justice. And Clara Harrington, the maid-turned-heiress, walked with her head high, knowing she had reclaimed both her name and her place in the world.